Hometown Murder Tour is a true crime podcast for entertainment purposes only, assuming you find us entertaining.
That being said, stories of violence, sexual assault, and other criminal acts will be discussed, using adult language. Consider this your warning.
Is it on?
I don't know. Is it?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Hey, guys.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome to another episode of Hometown Murder Tour. Thanks for joining.
Yep, I'm Sarah.
I'm Amy.
And we are headed to our next crime scene.
Yeah. I think
Just had a little lunch.
we did have some lunch.
Amy's full of onions.
Yeah, I am. Yep.
So,
I
there's
got
that.
some onion breath happening.
Can you smell it, guys?
Can you guys hear? You guys get that?
Oof.
Mm.
Oof.
Onion.
Oofy. All right.
You want to do a review?
Yes.
Let's do one.
Do it.
This is an iTunes review. It is from D. Loomis.
Hey, D. Loomis.
Hey, D. Loomis.
Thanks for listening.
So here's what D. Loomis says. It says, love this podcast. It says, this podcast has true crime of the Midwest and Springfield Mo area with a dose of humor, but always respectful to the victims. What a great concept for a podcast.
Oh,
Hey,
thank
yeah.
you.
So thank you very much,
Yep.
D. Loomis,
Guys,
for that review.
write us a review and we'll read it.
Keep them coming, everybody.
You want to be
we appreciate
podcast famous.
Yeah.
And by famous, I mean, 10 people will hear it.
Right. Exactly.
Write a review. Please.
Do it, guys. So yeah, I think that's really all the housekeeping we have. We don't have a lot going on.
All right.
So
Glad to be back on a regular schedule.
yes.
So that feels good.
I'm a little excited about our murder today.
Yeah. You have a very personal connection.
I mean, I wouldn't say very personal, but
I mean, you did the murder.
I committed the crime, you guys.
So
I
it's
mean, it's
pretty
pretty personal.
JK.
This is, for those of you who know, this is the Missouri State University professor murder of
Guys,
Mark Cooper.
Seriously.
This is fucked up.
Yep.
And it's insane.
So-
And it was insane then, and it's still insane now,
Yeah.
and that's what we're doing. So
I
we are
am
going to
headed that
drive
way.
to the house, the scene of the crime, if you will.
Yep.
Sarah,
I
you
just
want
missed
to
it.
give us? Yep, you did. It's all right.
We're going to
Turn
turn
right
it
up here.
around. Yep.
We got to talk about the neighborhood anyway.
Yes,
So
so
this is
I'm-
the Phelps Grove / University Heights
Area.
neighborhood. So this is like your jam. You're better at this than I am.
Well,
what do we got?
okay, so I'm turning on to Kimbrew. I would actually call this more strictly University Heights.
Right.
It's on University Street.
Yes,
so
it is.
It's in the main area. Again, this is pretty similar to our last episode about we'll come back around too. About the neighborhood. So clearly it's by the university, so this was developed during the time when MSU was built. So you have a good mix of big homes, kind of old money homes.
I was going to say old money. It's
Yeah,
very-
definitely old money. Probably, I would imagine, a lot of professors. Oops, I just hit the microphone.
It's all
Sorry,
right.
guys.
Bump.
A lot of professors lived in this area, but then you have a cute mix of little bungalows and smaller homes, but just really
cute little area.
Very cute. A lot of the houses are, I would say 99% of them are well maintained. There's not a lot of gross ones. People that do eventually, people stay in this neighborhood forever. So once a house goes up for sale, it's snatched up pretty quickly. And if you go straight down Holland Street, which is kind of the corner of where the scene of the crime is, it takes you right to Phelps Grove Park.
Yep.
So that's why I guess they consider it the kind of on the edge, but to me,
Mostly university. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's much
for
more
sure.
closer to Sunshine
Yeah,
than
okay.
it is that
So
area.
I'm going to loop back around because I was talking.
Yes,
And now I
to
need
drive by the house.
Get a better look at the house.
So, I guess while we're kind of driving, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail yet because we kind of saved that for our parking. But this is the murder of Mark Cooper, Dr. Cooper, history professor at Missouri State University. It happened back in 2016.
Pretty fresh.
Pretty fresh.
And it was shocking.
Super shocking.
Yeah.
When it happened. And still, I mean, when you go back and kind of look at it,
you kind of forget how fucked up it was.
How fucked up it really was.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely go into the details of that, but we are going to drive by the house.
This one, right?
Nope. Very next.
On the,
mm-hmm.
Oh,
yep.
Right on the corner.
And I want to see if we can see where the back door is.
Okay. So do you want me to turn down that way?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to give the address, but you guys can look it up.
I mean, it's not,
I mean, it's out there. We found it. I mean, we're pretty awesome investigators, but... Oh, yeah, you can see the back door.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming that's what they mean by the back door.
Yes.
Right there. Well, there's that door, and there's that door.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ooh, creepy. I'm so sad.
God, it's so fucked up.
I know.
Oh, man.
But it's a real cute house.
It's a very cute house. Very nice.
Does she still live there?
I don't know. I don't know how you could. I've thought of that.
Okay.
Anyway, so we drove by the house.
Yep.
We're going to find a spot. We're going to park, and then we're going to talk about this
case. All right. Be back in a minute.
Hometown Murder Tour is brought to you by Serendipity Designs, offering handmade leather jewelry that is simply to die for.
Go to serendipitydesigns.com and enter the promo code MURDERTOUR, all one word, for an additional 10% off your order. That's SARAHNDIPITY designs.com. Don't miss out on this killer deal.
Okay, and we're back. We decided to park at Phelps Grove Park because it's pretty close.
Yep.
Nice spot. We're in the shade.
We
got this.
Kick back, relax.
Undo this, and
I do want to lock that though.
Yep. All right. So this is the Mark Cooper homicide. As always, we try to lead off with an obituary if we can find one.
Yep.
So
I will take that. Mark Cooper, 66, of Springfield, passed away August 17, 2016. He was born January 31st, 1950 in Kew Gardens, Queens, New York. Mark went to high school at Brooklyn Tech and received a BA from University of Minnesota in 73. He got his master's in 77 and his PhD in 79. Mark was a professor at Missouri State University from 1980 to 2014 and was professor emeritus after retiring in January 2015, following 34 years of service. He served as president of Temple Israel and was an active member in the community. Among many awards and fellowships, he was a fellow for Imagining America, received the East-West Center Fellowship, and was a Tropian Foundation Fellow. His interests included communication technology, film, good wine, fine foods, traveling, hiking, politics, and cats. Mark was an active Zionist and was among the earliest users of the internet. I'd love to know how they know that.
I know. It's interesting.
Mark was preceded in death by his father, survived by his mother, wife, son, and his wife, brother, and his wife, and another brother, and many nieces and nephews. So yeah, that's pretty much his kind of...
He was sort of like he was established at the university there, 34 years teaching.
Yeah.
As a history major, I had the pleasure of having Mr. Cooper, Dr. Cooper, as he was department head, I believe, when I first started at Missouri State, and then he taught an ancient Greek class, and I had him as a professor. He was very kind and a really good teacher and really interesting and just a really cool guy. So
that sucks.
Yeah, and it's about to get
real sucky.
All right. After we go into the incident. So
all right, you go.
Jump in whenever you want. So
I'm gonna really give you the lead because I know you were a little more invested in this one.
This was rough. Okay, so the incident, the murder happened on August 17th, 2016. It was a Wednesday, and that really isn't important until we kind of talk about like the following Monday.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. So just keep that in mind. This was a Wednesday evening. Okay. August 17th. Mark and Nancy Cooper, so his wife, and he were sitting inside their home around 7:30 p.m. They were actually in the kitchen area when a man named Edward Gutting, which remember that, 43 years old, forced entry through the back door wielding a large knife.
Nope.
Okay. He chases Dr. Cooper through the kitchen, through the house, into the living room, stabbing him the entire time until he was able to knock him to the ground.
Yikes.
Gutting then continued to stab him while he was on top of him. Reports stated at the time that Gutting, which, can we talk about his last name?
Yeah, let's talk about that. His name's Gutting, people.
Gutting.
Like with a knife?
With a
Gutting.
knife.
If anyone was destined.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's awful.
He was 6'5" and weighed 225 pounds at the time. That's big.
Small,
that is a large.
I mean,
small. Yeah.
It's opposite day.
Opposite day. I mean, that's a big guy.
Yeah.
That is a big
Very
man coming
towering,
through the house.
Terrifying.
God, yeah. His wife, Nancy, Cooper's wife, she tried to defend her husband and was cut several times as she tried to fight with him. While this is happening, at one point he turns to her, I guess, like with the knife in his hand, and says it was between him and Cooper, that he didn't want to kill her, but he would if he had to. So,
how kind of him.
Right? If you look at the mugshot from that night, like from his arrest, he does have some facial injuries, like a scratch and kind of a puffy eye. And I'm going to go ahead and say that was from her.
Probably.
Like she tried, man. And she was injured though. She was cut, I think several times. So at that point, once he says, "I'm going to kill you too," she then runs out of the house, screaming for help, runs to the neighbors. I'm not sure. Police arrive soon after.
Can you even imagine though, as a neighbor? I mean, all of
someone
it's
comes
awful,
up to you,
but
just
someone
like,
probably has blood on her.
Oh yeah,
screaming,
hysterical.
Yeah,
screaming, saying someone's attacking my husband in my home. Like
right.
what? The whole thing. She did not know who he was. She has no idea who this person is. This is a stranger in my home attacking my husband. The police arrive and they find him just kind of wandering outside of the home in the middle of the street, calm, cool, collected,
but covered in blood.
No weapon on him, but he's just like kind of standing out there, and they arrest him without incident. There's footage, I remember seeing it, of him just sitting in the middle of the street, like in front of the house, Indian style,
like the
crisscross applesauce.
Media was already there.
Yeah, like media, and they're filming, and he's just sitting there, hands behind his back, handcuffed, just calm, sitting. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Like, can we just talk? Like,
terrifying.
This
in your own home.
This is classic, like, horror movie slasher shit.
Yeah.
Like, they are in their kitchen. I'm picturing it's 7:30, probably after dinner.
Yep.
They're, like, doing dishes, hanging out, whatever. And then out of nowhere, this giant man, 6'5", 230 pounds, comes in with a big ass knife at you.
So
like,
he
barges
wasn't
in.
even like going to talk and it went south. Like, he went in there to do it.
And immediately, it says immediately, according to the wife, immediately started to attack him. And so Dr. Cooper then had to turn, is like running away from this guy who's stabbing him while he's running away. And then eventually is overpowered, and he just is continually stabbing him in the middle of the living room.
Do you remember, did he die immediately? Like,
he was dead. Yes. Yes. They found him dead in the home.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, charges.
So that's the incident. Yeah.
Okay, so he was then charged with second-degree murder, first-degree assault, 2 counts of armed criminal action, and first-degree burglary. He was held in the Greene County Jail on $1 million bond. That's a pretty hefty bond.
Yeah.
MSU placed Gutting on administrative leave.
So we need to mention.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Back up to what we
Back
talked
up.
about, right? It happened on Wednesday.
This is
Yes.
Edward Gutting, the murderer,
Yeah.
was also a faculty member at Missouri State University.
Yep. In the history department.
Yes.
So,
that all is where this now kind of starts. So at the time, the wife had no idea who this was.
I don't understand that, because I thought she also was in the history department.
No. Gutting's wife was.
Oh, Gutting's wife.
Yeah, no.
Got it,
Mark
got it.
Cooper's wife had nothing to do with the university,
Okay.
so she didn't know they weren't friends.
I
They
got that
didn't do.
confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she says, "I don't know who this person is."
Okay.
But they find out this person
Right.
actually worked at the university as well.
Do we want to talk about the timing, or
We'll get into that,
later?
yeah.
Okay. So he's placed on administrative leave. At the time, they did not know a motive at all. The detectives basically said, "We know what happened, but we do not know why." And at the time of the arrest, there was no defense attorney listed. However, guess
Drum roll,
which
people.
defense attorney took the case?
We've talked about it. You guys know.
Come on.
Say it. Who is the defense attorney who would have
On the
defended
count of
this
three.
motherfucker?
1, 2, 3. Wampler!
D. Wampler.
D. Wampler! Woo woo!
So of
and
course
his
he
wig.
did. Yep, of course he did.
So, of course.
So D. Wampler is going to defend the guy, and it makes news. I mean, this is insane. I mean,
Yep.
the story's insane anyway, but the fact that he was also a professor at the university, it starts getting crazy, and then it gets a little messier.
Yeah.
When you kind of look at their connection and how they knew each other and that kind of thing.
So you tell us about their
bit.
connection.
So Cooper, obviously we talked about that. He was an emeriti history professor, had worked in the history department for 34 years. Gutting, which the name,
I know.
seriously.
Ugh.
Gutting was an instructor of modern and classical languages. He had, and his wife, Dr. Hornsby Gutting, who also worked at Missouri State.
Okay.
They all three worked together in the history department
You know what that makes me think?
from 2011 to 2014.
Love triangle.
Well, and that's what kind of came out. So Dr. Cooper, the victim, Edward Gutting, the murderer, and Gutting's wife all worked together in the Missouri State University History Department for a handful of years. So once that came out, there was a lot of speculation about what would the motive be. What is the deal? Love triangle was brought up, but then once you kind of got into Dr. Cooper's life and his involvement and everything, a lot of people were shooting that down because they're he would no, he didn't. But it was definitely brought up.
Yeah.
Did it have to do with hiring or tenure or something within? Was there some kind of argument within the history department between the three of them related to that? So there was all kinds of speculation about why this happened, but there was no real motive. He never came out and said, "This is why I did it." There wasn't a whole lot there.
Yep. Got it.
Until a little bit more comes out.
A search warrant giving police access to the data on Gutting's computers says Gutting was having money problems. Of course, it doesn't always come down to this.
Right.
And he reportedly felt Cooper was making his work life difficult. So Cooper's position was not immediately filled, the warrant says, and Gutting might have been eyeing the job.
So Cooper retired in 2014. This happened in 2016.
Right.
So I guess they had never really hired a replacement for a couple years, and so he was
wanting it.
Wanting that.
The warrant said Gutting was in economic crisis, and an employment change from senior instructor to full-time professor with tenure would have helped him financially. The warrant also says that Cooper and Gutting's wife, who is a history professor at MSU.
Currently. Still. We'll talk about that.
Okay. Wow. Reportedly had conversations about Gutting and the open job. So she and Cooper were talking about it.
Yep.
I'm sure she was like, "Hey, hire my husband."
Or put in, even he retired, but hey, can you put in a word?
Yeah.
What's going on with this?
Right. And then the university ultimately went in a different direction. So on the day Cooper was killed, the warrant says the history department changed the area of instruction for Cooper's old position, leaving Gutting no longer qualified for the job. So they basically changed like the job description.
Yeah. So this job he'd been vying for that apparently would have helped with some financial stuff anyway, he was no longer eligible for.
Yeah.
And that happened that day.
So there's kind of the breaking point,
Right.
you would think.
Right. Yeah, so Gutting's wife was teaching in the history department at the time, still does today, which is kind of crazy.
It is a little bit. I mean, how's that? Like, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, and I remember, when the news broke on this, it was sort of like a, oh my God. And
I remember you texting me.
Yes, and some people came to me and they're like, you were history at Missouri State. Like, did you know him? Did you have him? Did you have her? And I did have Dr. Hornsby Gutting in class. As a master's class.
Tell me about that.
She was very, very interesting.
Okay.
I don't want to
disparage
anyone on a podcast, but I'll talk to you. I can talk to you a little bit more. But just, I'm going to say...
Talk to me privately. We'll get back.
I'm going to say interesting.
Okay,
is what I'm going to say.
Eclectic, eccentric, maybe?
Interesting.
Okay.
Is what I'm going to say. And the class was interesting in a different way. Okay. And she was interesting in a different way.
Doesn't the fact that, again, let's go back to... This
2016.
happened on Wednesday.
Okay, August 17th, 2016, a Wednesday.
Yep. This shit goes down, right?
Yep.
Murder, blah, blah, blah. Guess what Monday was, people? First day of classes at MSU.
5 days later.
5 days later.
Classes start.
Guess who's
teaching?
5 days later.
Gutting's wife.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
No.
Can you fucking imagine?
How could you even...
I remember not joking. This sounds horrible, but also kind of joking. I wanted to quickly enroll and take a class.
Yeah, can I be...
quick. I want to be a fly on the wall of that shit.
No kidding.
5 days later, in that history department with all of his... some of those professors he'd worked with for years and years that were still working there. Can you imagine?
No.
And even now, she's working there. In that history department. And I'm not saying it's her fault or whatever. She didn't do it, but it's still that is...
Knew both parties.
Her
husband killed her
brutally
coworker.
Murdered.
Yep. Not even out of self-defense. Went there with the intent to murder.
I just cannot even imagine. Nope. Can you imagine the professor's lounge?
Hey guys, you want to have a cup of coffee?
Hey, do you know where the coffee filters are?
Yeah.
Also 5 days ago.
No, but here's a knife.
But here, seriously?
I know.
I cannot even imagine.
No. Also, I do feel sorry for her.
I do too. No, I'm not even saying, I can't, and that's her job. She's a professor. She works there. I don't necessarily say she needs to, leave her career, but I just...
Do you think she was really there the first day of school? There wasn't, a stand-in?
I'm sure. Maybe not.
I like our version better.
I like our version better. I'm sure she was, but...
Maybe she was. You said she was interesting. Quote unquote.
Agreed.
Those were air quotes, people.
Those were air quotes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Me?
You?
All right.
Go for it.
Go for some background about Gutting. Plus, maybe...
Also Gutting. Can we just bring that up again?
Gutting.
That's his last name.
That's unfortunate. Do you think that maybe a little bit in the back of his mind, my name's Gutting. I don't need a gun. I'm gonna use a knife.
I know, I'm not...
I don't know.
Billy Shooterton. What do we Anyway.
Well, first of all, his first name wasn't Billy, so that doesn't even make sense.
Well, I was. All right.
Okay. All right. So a little background. Obviously, the colleagues were shocked. Said he was laid back, smart, kept himself, never showed signs of instability. You know how it always goes.
Mm-hmm.
Gutting and his wife taught at Ole Miss before they joined MSU. Gutting taught in the Ole Miss Classics department, and she taught history. He did have a criminal history, though, in Oxford. He was arrested and later charged with simple assault. Apparently something that happened at a restaurant. And then he was also arrested for allegedly inhalation of toxic vapors he and his wife are allegedly inhaling nitrous oxide in a parked car, which actually sounds kind of fun.
I know, right? In Mississippi there.
Now, is that this? No, that's not the stuff that gives you a high voice. That's the stuff the dentist gives you, right?
Yeah, and like I think it's in like
laughing
whippets
gas
too, isn't it? Like in the whipped cream, isn't it nitrous in there too?
I don't know. Is that what huffing is? So basically, they were huffing.
I guess, yeah. I mean, nitrous oxide I know is what the dentist gives you, but
so
I
it's
also
laughing
think
gas.
it's like I think so. Yeah, they're just like just huffing it up in a car.
I mean, get your kicks. I mean, I just like to have a glass of wine, but
right.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to just
whatever. So his financial troubles were fucked up. I mean, he definitely was in financial. I feel bad. Like, I thought I had debt. No.
Well, and this is all from news reports and newsletter and all that. So we're just getting all of this information from that.
Yeah,
but we're not just making shit up.
Oh yeah, I'm like, why were you saying that? I assumed that we didn't contact the IRS or anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so court records show he and his wife filed for bankruptcy in 2013. Federal court documents showed that in November 2013, Gutting and his wife told creditors that they couldn't make payments of the $350,000 they owed.
Thanks.
This debt included $20,000 in taxes, $60,000 in student loans, which I totally get.
Yeah.
We need student loan reform, people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. $11,000 to
her mother,
$18,000 to his parents, $59,000 for credit cards. Holy shit!
Yeah, that is a shitload of
$59,000 for credit
card
cards.
Debt. Yeah,
Ugh.
and $20,000 in taxes, which seems, I mean, damn.
They need an accountant.
Yeah.
So, as part of the bankruptcy proceedings, Gutting and his wife were required to pay nearly all of their monthly income after expenses to a trustee. So, basically, like, hey, children, you can't manage your money, so...
Yep.
Which I kind of feel like sometimes I need that.
True.
I mean, like, someone give me an allowance.
Someone just tell me what I have to spend.
Yeah. Okay. And then additional issues with law enforcement in Springfield. He was charged with driving while intoxicated and completed 40 hours of community service. So, I mean, there's few skeletons.
Stuff going on.
Yeah.
Well, and it kind of like, once you get all the information about the financial troubles and then the job kind of not working out, and it's
starting to make sense.
Not a reason, but you can kind of see.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time.
Exactly. That money and...
A man loses his financial prowess, if you will.
And
then kills people.
Financial prowess.
I like that combo.
That works, yeah.
I mean,
whatever.
It
works.
Okay. Trial.
Yeah, so this happened in August of 2016. They order a mental evaluation on him in September of the same year. By the following year, they enter a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. So that was like almost a year later. The defense is they go ahead and issue their plea by insanity, or not guilty by insanity. They set the trial to begin in 2018. So 2 years later, they say, hey, we're going to have a trial. It's going to be in January of this year. Yeah. So it's supposed to be this past January. Yeah. And everybody was talking about that. How's this going to go? This is crazy. It kind of re-brought up all of the, the details about it. At the time, in March of 2018, when they set the trial date, they go ahead and they allow the defense is granted a motion for a full-blown mental examination and all that. Mm-hmm. So there's several months then between when they say we're going to have the trial, that he, I guess, is then just evaluated by several doctors. And then just this past January, the same month that the trial was going to start, early January, they issued statement saying that the trial was going to be suspended. That there is no trial right now because Edward Gutting is unable to stand trial based on his mental state in the several evaluations. There was interview, I think it was KY3, interviewed Dee Wampler, and Dee Wampler said that this was, quote, a bizarre schizophrenic type act, end quote, and that whether or not he was crazy at the time of the murder has yet to be answered, but he is mentally ill now for sure.
Here's the problem with that. What I have with that.
Yeah.
I am not a doctor.
Right.
But
You're
I
not?
do, well, I play one on TV.
Right.
But I do have some knowledge of mental illness and schizophrenia.
Uh-huh.
And and not saying it can't happen, but he's 43 at the time, right? And he's not had any symptoms or any behavior of that until now.
As far as...
Because it doesn't usually happen that way.
Right. I mean,
it's
usually
like 18
they start
to 30,
exhibiting...
18 to 35 is when it's diagnosed.
Right.
Or when it's apparent. But maybe he's a late bloomer. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And I kind of wondered that too. Like schizophrenia, it's odd that it would just sort of manifest itself
At 43.
at 43 with
nothing.
This. And maybe it hasn't. Maybe it didn't.
Well, and I mean, even the other people, when they were describing it, said he was chill and laid back and smart.
They were shocked,
didn't show any signs.
Right.
Well, guess what?
Instability.
People that have
Schizophrenia.
untreated, clearly, you're going to see some bizarre behavior. So it just is weird. That I don't know. Of course, Wampler may not be like using the right words either.
True. Well, they did say, yeah, that's true. Wampler said that his mental illness has worsened since the crime, so that whatever he's got, according to them, schizophrenia, that it's worse since it happened. So since 2016, he's gotten worse, and he needs treatment, he needs medication, all of that. So it says until Garin is treated or deemed fit or whatever, he is now turned over and is currently in the custody of the Missouri Department of Health to restore him to competence so he can stand trial. Who knows when that'll be? If he is deemed fit to stand trial, they said that the defense surely will go ahead and plead insanity.
Yeah.
But they said in one of the things I was reading, it very well could come down to the fact that if he's not deemed fit, then it's just done. Like there's no trial, no
but
nothing.
He stays in prison.
He would stay in. Well, he would stay in
health,
like
okay.
the Department of Health. But he
so
also
what
could
is that
be
at the FedMed, or is there different?
I don't think he's in
like they
federal.
used to have like for the criminally insane. They used to have
right.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. It just says he's in with the Missouri Department of Health, so I'm guessing that's not with the prison. I'm guessing that's...
Surely they have a wing.
I would think so.
You can't just be in...
I don't know. I don't know.
Rehab facility. I don't know.
As of now, everything's just kind of on hold, and then who knows? Like, who knows where this will go?
Well, I mean, it's clear he had some sort of mental break.
Something.
I mean,
you don't
he
just...
snapped.
He snapped.
And
clearly. But from what and how and all of that, like, who knows? And I just, like... I understand. I mean, if someone is mentally ill, there's the process and all of that. But can you imagine the family of Dr. Cooper, like, just wanting justice and wanting closure and wanting... I mean...
It's horrible.
And I can't even imagine. And that poor woman, his wife, Dr. Cooper's wife.
How
would you ever be okay again?
I hope
ever.
she's getting counseling. Cause
I'm sure, like, I just can't. And the family, it's horrible. It's horrible.
And then the fact, of course, that it's in the news.
Yes. And you're hearing about it and
we're
all of
doing
that.
a
And
podcast
people are
about
doing podcasts on it.
I mean, those bitches.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But how fucked up. Again, I just
is.
cannot get over the fact of, like, how it happened.
Yeah.
This was not, like, chased through the house.
Yep. Just,
Sarah,
like, ding-dong, open
not
the door.
even ding-dong. Like, it says he forced entry in.
Forced entry.
They were in the kitchen where the door was, and it busts open, and a giant man with a knife starts chasing you and stabbing you.
It is a horror movie.
Like, you fucking kidding me?
I know.
It's fucked up.
It's very sad.
Super sad and terrifying and awful.
Yeah.
And that's what we chose to talk about on a podcast.
Yep. Sure did.
So, yeah, that's the case.
All right. Well,
I have our notes.
Yeah, we
always
close
forget.
out, and we always
Close
forget
out.
what to say. So, all right, guys. As always, please send us stuff. Send us murder stories from the area. Send us
WTAF stories.
WTAFs. Those we need those.
We really do, guys.
It's hard
We're
to find.
struggling. We're struggling. Send us stuff. Like, please.
And then we'll give you a shout out. Don't you want that?
Don't you want that, people? You want it.
Everybody wants it.
No, you want it.
Yep. Everyone's doing it.
Yeah. If you want to send us stuff, you can send it to our email,
which is hmt@gmail.com.
Yep. Listen to us. Find us.
Yeah.
Read
What
things
we write.
post on Twitter.
Yep.
At Murder Tour on Twitter.
Yep. And of course, you're listening to us either on Podbean, iTunes, or Google Play.
Or other places, apparently, too. Like, I've seen people, I don't know how it works, but you guys are listening to us
You can
sometimes
find
in
it.
other ways.
You
So
find
just
it.
figure it out.
Yep. And then subscribe, rate, review. All of those things help us out.
Yeah.
If you write a review, we're going to read it. So,
Will.
I mean, if it's good.
I don't know. We'll read a shitty one, too, I guess. But
Oh.
And then
We'll make fun of them.
And then we'll make fun of you. Yeah.
That's what we'll do.
See?
All right.
Anyway.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's the thing.
Okay, guys. Bye.
Okay, bye.